Hey guys, after another long preseason, Season 12 is upon us. So in this video, we're going to look at the best climbing tips that will help you reach Diamond during the new season. Also, this video is sponsored by Honeygain, but more on that in a little bit. Number 1, take some time before playing ranked to understand the meta. After every preseason, Riot does something that completely changes the game and the way that it should be played. With this season, they're adding some dragon changes, which happens every single year, and they also added some items and reworks. And as far as preseasons go, this one was relatively tame, but there have definitely been some meta shifts that won't go fully figured out or realized until after a couple weeks into the season starting. Many players rush in to play ranked the moment it opens, but I encourage you not to do this. Take a step back and look at the champion stats for whatever elo you're in and use that to your advantage by building the best champion pool that aligns with your playstyle and the meta. There are also changes to teleport and other reworks that can greatly impact different lanes and matchups, so it will take some time to figure that out, and you don't want to blindly face that when you're in ranked. If you do decide to start grinding right away, then make sure to keep an eye on champion stats and build recommendations from the top players. Number 2 is finding a good warm-up routine. This is something that I am still trying to develop and figure out what works best for me. I won't play League for a couple days and then I'll randomly start playing and instantly queue up for a ranked game. Like my mind and fingers are ready to play a game at a high level. I don't know the specific statistics, but I'm willing to bet that my first game on win rate is about 30%, which is actively working against my goal to climb. I've seen a lot of Korean pros that will play a game of ARAM before they queue up for rank. Other players will just mess around in the practice tool and work on specific combos or skill shots or just to warm up their fingers and reflexes. One thing that I recommend is watching a short stream or VOD of your favorite player or champion in order to be thinking about the right things and reminding yourself of the proper way to play your champion. It'll remind you of where to ward early, how to play the early stages of the lane, or even what combos you should prioritize on a champion. All of this is hard to do if you immediately hop into a ranked game, so this helps you get rid of those mental cobwebs and it lets you focus on your game the moment it starts so that you can play at your highest level and give yourself the best chance of winning. The third tip is having a small champion pool. This might be the number one thing I talk about on this channel, and that's because it truly is the most important when it comes to climbing. Let's just learn from me for a second. Look at how many champions I played in ranked last season. Imagine if I just stuck to my top 3 champs and didn't think I was faker by changing my champion every single game. The thing about League of Legends is that it is very distracting. YouTube, TikTok, even the game itself has so many different options for who to play and how to play them. It's easy to get bored of your main champions, especially if you're not doing very well, and then you look to others for your ticket to high elo or that rank that you want. So ignore the noise and even your emotions and stick to the champions that you have the most experience with. League is all about learning the game through the eyes of a specific playstyle and a specific champion, and this will let you dive deeper into the macro and micro elements of the game that will give you an edge over your opponents and get you to high elo. There's a player on my friends list that was plat 1 last season, and then a couple of weeks later I checked his profile and he was plat 4, and so I was wondering what happened, why he dropped so quickly. So I quickly peeked at his match history and I found out that he was a Yorick one-trick who randomly decided that he was going to play Jax and Fiora before he got to Diamond, and that dropped him back down to plat 4. This game has many ways to play it, so you have to narrow down your champion pool and become very proficient at a couple of champions. Hey guys, the sponsor of this video is Honeygain. Do you want to make money with no effort? Well then Honeygain is here to help. It's a magical app that makes you money just for running it in the background. It's not life-changing money, but it can totally pay for some extra skins in League or your Netflix subscription. This is how it works. You install Honeygain on your device and run the app. That's it. You're making money by simply sharing your internet connection. Your connection is used by businesses that need to gather public web data such as pricing information. Sites that compare the best prices for different regions need to compare prices with this data. Honeygain is like the Google of web monitoring for companies. You might have already benefited from this data collection without even knowing it. With the help of its infrastructure and millions of users, you can find the best prices for anything you shop for. Whenever you earn $20, you can withdraw it to your PayPal account or Bitcoin wallet. So don't wait any longer. Use my code Snowta when signing up or click the link in the description down below and enjoy the first $5 added to your account right away. The fourth tip to climb to Diamond in Season 12 is to aim to play 400 games. I made a video last year about how to get Diamond in 30 days, and I said you would have to play 10 games a day to get to 300 total games in a month in order to get Diamond. And people got mad that I would suggest that people had to play that much and that it was simply impossible, which I totally understand. I also don't have time to play 10 games a day for 30 days in a row, but the math doesn't lie. If you want to increase your rank, you can't play 10, 20, maybe 30 games a season. You have to get into the hundreds. This gives gives you time to learn the game through trial and error, but even more importantly, it allows you the amount of variance you need to increase your win rate from 50 to 55%, which will increase your rank tremendously. That's winning only 11 games for every 20 you play. But when you do that, you're increasing your rank from somewhere around 30 to 40 LP. But over the long term of getting better and increasing your win rate, the small amount of LP gain will turn into many divisions climbed and even new tiers reached. 400 is not a magical number, it's just a goal to hit if you really want to climb. But if you don't, then that's okay. But drop the unrealistic expectations and certainly stop saying you could get to diamond if you tried. No, you couldn't. You're not fooling anyone. Tip number 5 is to have a plan for tilt. Tilt is gonna come if you're trying to climb. You will have trolls, you will have AFKs, you will have people that just suck, and that will cause you to experience tilt. I'm not a psychologist, so I don't know exactly what emotion or combination of emotions tilt is, but I do know that it will come and you need a plan for when it does. Something that I do is leave my room, get a snack, and go back. Simply the act of getting up and walking to another room resets my mental state so that I can start the next game with a fresh mind and give it all I have. Another way to help with tilt is to play games in batches. If you're gonna sit down for 2 hours, then do a warm-up and then play 3 ranked games, and regardless of whether you go 0-3 or 3-0, take a break. Go for a walk, go do something productive, or take a break for an extended period of time. Batching games, on top of also taking small breaks if you need to reset your mental, will help you climb faster and higher than you ever thought you could. Also understand that if you play horribly for 2 or 3 games in a row, it's highly unlikely that you'll magically play better in your 4th game. Take advantage of positive momentum and play more games if you're winning, but also realize that when you're just having a bad day, stop playing ranked games and spend that time reviewing VODs or watching streams to improve. Don't lose a bunch of LP for no reason when you know you're off your game. Tilt happens because people become so addicted to this game that they'd rather queue up again immediately instead of taking 60 seconds to cool off, clear their head, and then try again. The 6th tip is to learn rune variations. If you heed my advice of keeping your ranked champion pool small, preferably around 3 to 5 champions for the entire season, then you can start learning basic rune variation. There are a lot of apps and websites that will give you the most common runes for a certain champion, but if you're looking to master your champion and give yourself specific advantages in different matchups, you need to study your rune pages. For my top 3 champions, I have about 4 or 5 variations that I can run through depending on what matchups I'm in. I'll give you an example. If I'm in a poke matchup in the top lane, I'll take second wind instead of bone plating because I know I'll take a lot of consistent damage, but if I'm against an assassin or a bruiser, I'll take bone plating instead because I know I'll save some HP in a short burst trade than if I had taken second wind. This also goes for item builds and build paths, but I hope that you're already working on that. Take the time to build out item pages or learn how to navigate the shop quickly so you can build the appropriate items depending on what situations you're in. These small optimizations do really help you win lane and win games. Number 7 is to keep a log of your games. This is something that I first saw Skara doing many years ago whenever he was just streaming ranked. He would keep a log for how his games were going. They were just short journal entries about what he did well or what he did poorly and the main reason for the loss. Did he take a bad trade at level 1? He wrote that down. Did he have a bad TP play? He wrote that down. Was the game completely out of control by 7 minutes when his bot lane was 0-10? He wrote that down as well, knowing for the most part that the game was completely out of his control and he just needed to move on to the next one. This is vitally important if you truly want to climb because again, if you are playing a small number of champions, you'll start to master how to play the game at its different stages, which includes how to play into different matchups. If you die at level 1 to Jax while playing Riven, you log that and make sure you don't challenge Jax at level 1. These small nuggets of information will help you cover your mistakes in the future and tighten up your game overall and let you actually become a diamond player instead of barely sliding into the bottom of D4. Tip number 8 is to build healing reduction. Healing in League of Legends became even more obnoxious than it has ever been in Season 11, and based on the changes in the preseason for Season 12, there are no signs that that's going to change anytime soon. Riot balances champions and items now with anti-heal in mind, so if there's ever one major healing champion on the other team, then make sure you build Grievous Wounds. If you're laning against a healing champ, then go ahead and rush Executioners or get Oblivion early. If you aren't laning against a champ that heals much, then you can wait and get it after your first item. If you are in low elo, don't assume that your teammates are going to buy these items. Remember, they only reduce healing for a short duration after you do damage to them. So if you're a bruiser and you're not going to hit the backline until maybe the end of the fight, you need your teammates to buy healing reduction as well. This is important to think about because you'll want to point this out to your teammates the moment you load into the game. Get it on their radar to buy healing reduction early. I can't tell you how many games I lost last season because people forgot to buy it. Tip number 9 is to not type. just don't type. And if you can't help it, then turn chat off altogether. You'd be surprised at how much information you can actually give by just using the 4 pings. League of Legends is such a fragile game with people's egos ready to hurl themselves off a cliff or just down the mid lane. I found that I get tilted way less and play more consistently when I play League with chat off. And also, if you get question mark pinged or someone is just harassing you that way, then quickly turn off their pings. It's that simple. It's kind of sad, but League has gotten to a point where there are just so many emotions surrounding the game, especially around placements and promos, so just avoid the hassle altogether and mute chat. If you really believe that you need it to climb, then keep it on at your own risk. I turn mine off and I have a chill time climbing to Masters. You might not like this one, but tip number 10 is to become a master warder. If there's one thing that all League players can improve at, it's warding. From level 1 wards to deter invades, to early laning wards to avoid the first gank, or the great secret control wards that hide in the enemy jungle for 20 minutes straight. Whatever stage of your warding journey you're at, you can still probably get better. So when you're warming up and reviewing games, make sure you watch where you need to be warding, but also pick up on where the other team warded so that you can avoid those areas when you rotate or flank. Never play this game blind. Trust me, it gets a lot easier when you can see everything that's going on. So embrace the process, play lots of games, and maybe one day you'll be on the LCS stage, or just in Diamond 4. Hey guys, if you want to join my course, The Ticket to Diamond Blueprint, make sure to check it out using the link in the description, and you'll also get access to the private Discord. That code will only be active for a short time, so make sure you use it as soon as you can. Also, if you want to learn how Bjergsen carries his ranked games, check out the video in the top left. Thanks for watching.